around 9:18 on the morning drive. Flying Dutchman and Carrie, Chong with you on a Wednesday morning. And with us here in the studio is Benson Ang, lifestyle correspondent from the Straits Times. How are you today, Benson?
I'm very good, Carrie. How are you?
Good. Happy to have you. Yeah.
We remind you we're live on Facebook as well, so you guys can join us there as well.
Okay, so the article, is it out or already or not?
It's out already.
Okay. So this is an article about the sea wave, music shows, entertainment from China that's catching on in Singapore. This is interesting. I mean, what made you want to tackle this topic?
Well, about a month ago, there were quite a lot of China singers holding concerts here, and it's still going on. And there were also quite a few high-profile China entertainment-focused events. So I just thought that it was quite a timely time to push an article like this.
So we see this growing popularity of Chinese pop culture in Singapore. What has stimulated it? What do you think has contributed to this upturn?
I think there's many factors. I mean, globalization. There are more Chinese immigrants in Singapore, and the younger generation of Singaporeans interact with these, Chinese immigrants, and many of them become permanent residents here, or even Singapore citizens.
Which is true. We've seen that.
Yeah. In your article as well, there was a lady who actually caught on to this craze because she worked a lot, or she had a lot of friends who are from China, right? And that helped as well. And, talk about the influx, right? We're seeing not just in the music or entertainment scene, it's also in the products that we use.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The coffee that we drink. It's all coming out from China. So that has helped, I think, a lot.
I had a great wine experience the other day with wines that came out of China.
See?
Which are really good.
Yeah.
Which are really good, to be quite honest. What about social media? What about digital platforms? How is, particularly with Singapore, how has that affected Chinese pop culture in Singapore?
Oh, it definitely has affected drastically. I think the most popular social media apps in Chinese here would be either Douyin, Xiaohongshu, and these are predominantly in Chinese.
Yeah.
And you can download them, you can use them, and that's like your entryway into the Chinese sea wave and the Chinese culture right now.
Right.
I mean, with social media, it's so easy to get hooked, right? So once you
Tell
have
me about it.
One thing leads to another. It's a black hole. And then you're like, oh, this guy's so cute. Okay, I want to watch his drama, or I want to listen to his music.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very similar to the K wave, Korean wave, which I'm still on, riding high, man. I love it. So I don't know. I have not had the compulsion to switch to the C wave. What do you think will tip me over? Can Benson, tell me.
Well, I think that a large factor would probably depend on how good your Chinese is.
我的华语很好。
Oh, very good.
Okay, then you are primed. You're primed to enter the sea wave.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the predominant ways which attracts Singaporeans to Chinese pop culture is because we understand the language on some level. We may not understand the all the nuances, but we generally understand how the language works, as opposed to Korean.
Yes.
Can you speak Korean, Carrie?
No, she reads subtitles.
조금. No.
Oh my
I can
goodness,
read,
she speaks Korean as well.
I learned it for a year. So bring me to Korea. I'll be your tour guide, okay? So the thing is, one of my friends actually said, I watch Chinese drama because I can listen to it in the background, right? Because I understand the language versus watching something in Korean and then I have to watch the subtitles very intently. So that is a big plus, I think. Okay, we're going on Facebook and to continue this conversation with Benson, so join us there.
Mornings are now.
Okay, Benson, Carrie brought up something that's very interesting. She's into the whole K wave, and she says, how do I cross to China? Do I really have to do that? Do I really have to drop K to be involved in scene. No, you don't. You can carry both of them with you.
Yeah, you're only limited by the number of hours you're awake.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Exactly my point.
See, if I start on Sea Wave, then I'll have no time for my family, kids. Go and find
That's
make
okay.
your own instant noodles.
That's okay. You get up, you come to work, you go home, you do your C wave and your K wave, then you come to work again. Husband handles the rest.
Okay.
Or you could just sleep less, lor.
And then miss the show in the morning. Yeah, the morning show. Okay, so interestingly, there have been quite a number of like concerts or is it music festivals that were put together in the past year or so, right?
Actually, both. I would say like the most high-profile concert was Joker Xue's concert on Valentine's Day and the day after that. It was huge.
Yeah.
So this guy called Joker.
See, this is the thing. I do not understand. I don't even speak Chinese, okay? I don't understand it. I've worked in China. I think the people are great. And I love the culture. Because you can have a star who come out with a name like Joker and he can become a mega star. And I think it's lovely. The names they pick are just, they amaze me. And why?
Well,
Why do they use names like Joker and
your
stuff?
name is your brand, right? So,
Yeah, I guess.
So, when Joker Xue first came, when he first started out in entertainment, his name wasn't Joker.
Yep.
It was Jackie.
But Jackie's so common.
Jackie's too
So you need to stand out.
So around like 2017 or 2016 or 2017,
Yeah.
he changed his English name to Joker. And that was around the time when he sort of found himself,
Right.
Yeah, he found himself. He was quite a jokey kind of person. He's a jokester,
Right.
wisecracking kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it.
Question. You been to his concert? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to know, right, in terms of production value, right, how does it differ? Because I know they go all out.
Yeah, they do.
The Chinese do it so well. Entertainment, production. Is it better? One of the best.
Well, I mean, better is subjective, but something that I've noticed between Chinese music in general and K-pop is that Chinese music has a lot more ballads. A lot more soothing, slower songs,
Right.
And maybe it's because we understand Chinese and Mandarin, we understand the lyrics and the context of the song. Whereas for many of the K-pop songs are dance songs.
You don't really need to understand the lyric.
Yeah, you just gotta get a boppy beat going, and short skirts, that sort of thing.
So for K-pop, the emphasis is actually more on the dancing. I'm sure,
Right.
Carrie, you know a few dance moves, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
don't. She'll start. No, she'll start. Don't.
Quenchana, ding, 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 ding.
Oh, my Lord. How could you do that?
I hate it, by the way. My kids do it to annoy me.
K-pop has gone global. It is massive. You can't go to a country in the world where they don't know what K-pop is. But Singapore is very different from most countries because we are this melting pot of different cultures. How has that affected the adaptation of this Chinese pop culture, this Chinese wave?
Well, I guess Singapore, racially, there's a majority of Chinese people, and that itself creates some affinity. For Chinese pop culture.
Yeah.
For Korean pop culture, I think that Korean pop culture, first and foremost, I would say something a bit controversial to say
Go
that
ahead.
Korean pop culture is largely catered to an English-speaking audience.
I will agree.
You think so?
Yes, I will agree.
Yeah.
I will agree.
Yeah, so you notice that many of the K-pop bands have band names in English.
Yes.
The song titles are in English.
Yes.
And usually the first line of the chorus is in English.
Yes, he's absolutely right. And there are so many collabs with Western artists.
Yeah. Especially in
many.
the last few years, couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay. So, K-pop or K-drama is the fan culture is just intense, right? Especially after they've gone global. How does the fan engagement differ in the Chinese pop scene?
I think it's mad and crazy.
I mean, it depends on the context, I guess,
Yeah.
But we still have the regular sort of enthusiastic fan response, going to the airport to welcome the star.
Right.
Pseudo stalking the star around the town.
Yeah, like travel around the world. Do they do that?
Yeah.
To catch the various concerts by the same artist?
Yeah, I know someone who's traveled to, I can't even remember how many countries just to watch BTS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's the same concert because it's the same tour.
Yeah, so like over the last weekend, one of the largest Chinese stars, Dylan Wang, was in Singapore to attend this Yue Wen Global IP Awards.
Okay.
Right,
and,
right.
And during the show, there were because I was there while they were filming the show, and there were times when there were breaks in between the filming.
Right.
And during these breaks, you see all the handphone cameras come out to film everything about Dylan Wang.
Really?
Yes,
He's an actor.
he's an actor.
So
see.
there is this almost obsession like there is with K-pop. It's the same.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, because a
the
lot of
same.
them look good as well, right? Especially if you're a drama, the entertainment scene, there's
But
that star appeal.
But that's the thing about I think that's the thing about Asia. Whether you're talking China or
Yeah.
Korea, it's
Yeah.
all about. A lot of it is about the look. It's-
The packaging.
The packaging is so important. I think sometimes the packaging, particularly with males, the packaging in Asia is more important than it is in the West.
With males?
With males, I think
Yeah.
the packaging is far more important with us.
Yeah, because you watch Robert De Niro in Zero Day.
Man,
not
he-
because he's good looking or
He's
suave,
old and wrinkly.
but you watch him anyway. Okay, but so this article, let me see, Sea Wave, right? Music, shows, entertainment. Given the current trends, where do you see Chinese pop culture heading? In Singapore, is it going to go even bigger? Or is it going to just supersede K-pop, K-wave?
To be honest, my prediction that it will not, and simply
Really?
because C-Wave is catered for Chinese speaking audiences, and the number of Chinese speaking people in the world is arguably less than the number of English speaking people in the world.
Oh,
And remember
that's
what I said
a
about
really interesting observation.
yeah, remember
But what
I
about
said about
here
K-pop?
in
Yeah.
Singapore?
Yeah.
Do you think it will supersede in Singapore itself, not globally?
That's hard to say. That's hard to say.
Okay, if that's hard to say, let me ask you another even harder question. In today's context with the young, it's about being cool. Which is more cool?
I really can't
It's
answer
tough,
this.
right? It's tough, right? Because the Koreans have spent so many years building that cool image. And I think that's something that C-Wave is going to need to develop over the next couple of years. They're going to develop, yes, I've got the talent. Yes, I've got the sound. Yes, I've got everything. But do I have that cool edge?
No, it's also
That's what they're going to need to develop.
Then they got to start with the primary schools because
Yes, yes.
I've got a 9-year-old, 13-year-old. I put on a Chinese song on my Spotify. Right? They're like, "What is this?" And then they just like switch off, right?
Okay, I probably have one suggestion for the current C-Wave, and it's perhaps that it might want to focus more on contemporary settings and contemporary themes.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because currently, much of the C-Wave pop is based on period dramas.
Yes.
Period drama theme songs.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're gonna continue this conversation on air right now. 1FM 91.3, Good Times Greatest Hits. Duran Duran, Ordinary World. Here on the Morning Drive, we have Benson Ang with us from the Straits Times, and we've been chatting all this time on Facebook about the Sea Wave.
And I asked Benson the question, which was cooler, and Benson said he can't answer that question.
Yeah.
But the point being that, and I mentioned this on Facebook, the Koreans have spent the last few years developing that cool factor, which I think the Sea Wave is going to have to do.
Yes.
It's going to have to develop that coolness and drag the young kids in.
Chinese culture, right? Chinese
Yeah.
language.
You would-
because we know the kids these days, they're like, 讲华语, I don't want.
Exactly.
Right?
You were saying that there's a reason why they're not maybe as cool. You were talking about
Yeah,
everything
that's
being...
right. I think that the current C-Wave right now is quite focused on Chinese period dramas. And this happens like long time ago and
Right.
has so much fantasy and fictional
Yeah.
historical baggage tied to it, right? I think that if you want to be cool, you got to relate to audiences now.
Yes.
You have to talk about things like, what people go through in school.
Yes.
What people go through with their parents right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I actually think that K-dramas do that a lot better.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah,
And I think
maybe-
that's something Seawave's going to have to really look at.
Yeah. And also during your research, right, were there any like surprising or interesting things or findings about the rise of Chinese pop culture here in Singapore? In writing this article, when you're interviewing these people, like, what's the difference in the mindset? Why do they prefer Chinese dramas or Chinese pop?
I think it's most of the people whom I spoke with, entered into Seawave because they first understand Chinese, and second, they appreciate the sort of richness of Chinese history. So that's something that came across, and it's precisely because the current Seawave is so focused on period dramas. So what they do is that they love the costumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They love the architecture and the fantasy of like falling in love with this pugilist.
Yes. Which you don't get very much of in the K-pop stuff.
Yeah,
No,
you don't.
no,
It's very
they do,
modern.
The K-dramas, they do have period dramas.
But not as many as the modern ones.
But it focuses on what happened back in the day in like your Joseon dynasty, not so much relatable to Chinese.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I know that the sets are very elaborate. The budgets are enormous, right?
right.
More so than the Korean
Because
dramas.
I see, as Benson mentioned earlier in this interview, we are a predominantly Chinese society. So if they can find those little tweaks of making it cool, I think that it is going to grow leaps and bounds because it is a comfort zone
Yeah.
for Chinese speakers. It is a comfort zone. This is mine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Whereas Korean, yes, they appeal to English, and all, but it's not mine.
Okay, well, if you want to check out the article, it's online at the Straits Times. Riding the Sea Wave, music shows and entertainment from China catching on in Singapore. Thank you so much, Benson, for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome.
Enjoy the ride.